Creativity doesn't have to mean chaos. This bullet journal system keeps me focused all year long. Today I'm going to be showing you how I turn creative ideas into reality, one journal page at a time. Let's go. Okay, first things first, when bullet journaling, you want to pick the right bullet journal for you. What journal speaks to your spirit? Do you care about the ink bleeding through to the other side? Do you care about the size? Do you care about the color? Do you care about page number? Do you think you're going to need a thick book or a thin book? All of these things play into mind when you're deciding on which journal to get for your year of bullet journaling. As you can see here, the black journal represents when I first started bullet journaling. I just got the first thing I could find, and I learned a lot using this journal. This journal was very simple and to the point, and it helped me on my journey into bullet journaling. From there, I needed brighter colors because I often throw things into a book bag or a big tote of some sort, and I lose things that are often black. So I needed a pop of color, which is why I transitioned into the world of yellow. All right, now I don't want to start this video off setting you astray thinking this is going to be some artistically beautiful bullet journal setup. That's not what this is. First of all, I cannot draw. I know, I'm sad about it too. My whole life I wished I could draw, and I just have never dedicated myself to getting good at drawing. I can color really well. I'm just not that gifted there. And I don't have good penmanship either. One day, maybe in my retirement years, I may get into calligraphy so I can marvel at how wonderful I can draw my name or write my name. But today is not that day. So I use tools to help me enhance my bullet journal. My tools of preference are stamps, highlighters, stencils, and stickers. Yeah, this is a very, let's call it aided bullet journal setup. So you can watch me set it up and see how I go from making my empty bullet journal full and doing my best to make it look as aesthetically pleasing to my eye as possible, given my limitations in the realm of drawing and penmanship.
As you can see, I use sticky notes to identify what will be going where within my journal. From there, I start the long process of outlining everything in pencil. I do this because I make mistakes and I need to be able to erase. Once everything is outlined, I go over the pencil marking with marker. I have like 5 different size tips on the markers I use for this task. Depending on how thick I want the lines of a spread will determine which size I ultimately end up using. This process of outlining in pencil and tracing in marker takes the longest of all the steps, but it's also worth it. Plus, I kind of find it relaxing. For the most part, I'd say my setup is fairly simple. I use a future log, monthly, and weekly for organizational purposes. There are a number of spreads and trackers you can use for your bullet journal to help you stay organized and reach your objectives throughout the year. But I've learned through lots of trial and error that I only really need the future, monthly, and weekly log to stay on top of things. And at the end of the quarters, I leave a page or two to assess my performance and progress. All in all, setting up this bullet journal is easy. Writing down the goals and objectives for the year also isn't all that difficult either. The hard part is holding yourself accountable and following through. No one in your life is going to be checking in on you to make sure you're writing that book, or finishing your painting, or going outside to take photos. It's not that your loved ones don't care about you, it's that they have their own goals and aspirations to manage. Hell, they may forget you ever mentioned wanting to shoot a short film one day. Or they'll remember 5 years in the future and say something like, "Whatever happened to that movie idea you had? You gonna do something with it?" So you have to be the one to make sure you're chasing your goals. And this bullet journal is a tool that can help you do so.
All right, so as a creative, when I look at the year in front of me, 365 days can feel incredibly daunting. I always get excited at the beginning of the year. There's so many things I want to do. There's so much possibility and hope that fills me at the start of every year. And it's easy to get overwhelmed, you know, when you're just like, oh, 365 days, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. So this can often lead to setting too many goals for yourself, or setting unrealistic goals for yourself, or just So for some people, it just freezes you altogether. You're like, I don't want to do anything, just stop. But what I have figured out over the past few years of making my bullet journal as a creative is that if I break the year down into quarters, it becomes a lot more manageable to actually knock out the things I want to do within that year. Each quarter, I set goals for myself. Some are small, independent goals, while others are a part of a much bigger goal for the year. And I just have broken it down into quarters. So it could take me half a year to get something done. It could take me 3/4 of the year to get something done. Either way, I set it up quarterly so that I can attack this goal and manage it so that I don't feel overwhelmed by the goal. For example, say I wanted to make a video every week on YouTube for the year 2025. That would be 52 videos that I would have to get done. I would break that down further to 13 videos every quarter I would have to get done. Break that down even more to monthly. Every month I would need to produce 3 to 4 videos in order to reach my goal of 52 videos as a whole for the year. Breaking it down even more, I would go into my weekly schedule and say, what do I need to get done in a week to produce a video? And I would plot it here in my weekly spread so that I was staying on schedule with reaching my goal of making 1 video each week. And that's just an example of how I would go about reaching that hypothetical goal. So don't come back here expecting me to have a video every week. That'd be nice, but.
Here you can see I'm laying down my days of the week with stickers. These are clutch because there's no way I would have written these words any nicer.
My example of making 52 videos, I would put those under my creative objectives for the year. My creative objectives quarterly for the year. But I will advise this. In the past, I have bitten off more than I could chew, so to speak. I have written goals that, I would really like to get done, but they're not realistic, right? And I hate not being able to tick the box. So really sit down with yourself and be realistic as to what you believe you are capable of getting done. And I would say try to keep these things to maybe 2 to 3 things per quarter, but make it 2 to 3 very important things that you want to get done in the quarter so that you are inspired and motivated to go after these goals. As you'll see here, I'm using my stencil because my bubble letters aren't going to be bubbling the way they should be, and it would take me too long to try to do this freehand anyhow. So yeah, stencils, they come in clutch if you're like me and your penmanship isn't anything to write home about. I don't just limit my bullet journal to creative endeavors because that can feel a bit draining, right? I like to have fun too. Or there are other things in my life that I like to get better at doing. So for me, a personal goal that I would set for myself is I want to do 3 races this year, 3 running races. Now, I'm not going to be the next FloJo, just not my life's talent. Don't overdo it for your personal objectives and goals for 2025. Just give yourself a couple of things that will be fun that you want to do, and also a couple of things that you need to do, right? I really need to decorate my new apartment. It's been slow going, getting things set up and decorated. So for me, a fun yet practical goal is going to be decorating my apartment. Before I started bullet journaling, I wasted a lot of time stopping and starting projects. Sometimes it would take months unnecessarily for things to get done that could have been done in a matter of weeks if I had just focused and plotted and scheduled the execution of the task at hand. Bullet journaling really helped me to streamline my efforts in my creative life. And I don't think I would be able to go back to a time before bullet journaling because I have seen the progress in real time of just how much more productive I am within a year, having the structure and the ability to see my year plotted out before me using a bullet journal. Having a bullet journal helps me focus on the right tasks, and there's really no wasted time or movements or endeavors in my day-to-day because everything feels much easier, not having to wonder what I should be doing. I'm able to plot down in order of importance what needs to be done in order to fulfill said project. Remember that a tool is only as good as the person using it. You could set up your bullet journal at the start of the year, but if you do not continually use it every day, check on your progress, keep track, make notes, and look to your bullet journal to assist you in moving forward, then you won't get the most out of your bullet journal. And I feel like a lot of times creatives fall victim to setting something up and not returning to it to hold yourself accountable. So when you set up your bullet journal, keep in mind that you have to work this tool in order for it to work for you. This year, you'll see I'm rocking with Avatar: The Last Airbender stickers, a favorite animated series of mine, and I am happy to have these characters to hang out with all year. Remember, there is no one way to set up a bullet journal, okay? There's no one size fits all here. That is one of the things I like most about bullet journaling. I get to set up my bullet journal for the year so that it helps me the most. It helps my creative process the most. If I know I have big projects that I want to get done throughout the year, I can plot it out using my bullet journal and then specifically go in and set up spreads and whatnot to track my progress. And I have to hold myself accountable. You'll notice that at the end of months and quarters, I do a written review. In the review, I jot down what went well for me, what didn't work for me, where I fell short, and where I excelled. Sometimes you will underestimate what you're capable of, and you will get really far ahead of schedule. I love it when this happens for me. On the same note, you can also fall behind, and you need to give yourself room to make adjustments. When it comes to setting my quarterly creative objectives, I tend to write this section out in pencil just because I have had to make adjustments throughout the year to still hit my goals, but to be more realistic on the timeline in which it will take me to complete said goals. Sometimes I've found that I'm pursuing the wrong thing to get to where I want to be, if that makes sense. So I've had to go back and restructure anyway. So my bullet journal is all about flexibility. My bullet journal is all about flexibility and giving myself the space to change my mind a bit, but still try to go after what I ultimately want within that year. I use a stamp to get these days of the week in here. I start out writing them, but then I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm paying for the stamp, I'm gonna use the stamp. So use your tools, right? If you don't have the artistic ability to make your bullet journal pretty, but you want it to look as nice as you can, use tools. Pencils, pens, stencils, markers, highlighters, rulers, stickers. Utilize everything in your arsenal to make your bullet journal as pleasing to your eye as you possibly can, because you have to look at this journal all year, and the better it looks, the more willing you will be to pick it up and look at it. Be like, oh wow, look, I made this. You made something. You crafted a journal this year. You're an artisan. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, okay? Don't let them take that from you. In the front of my bullet journal, I always like to set my intention for the year. And for me, my intention comes in the form of a single word. This year, in 2025, my word of choice is going to be execution. Execution reminds me to lock in, take action, and follow through on the plans that I have set for myself, even when things get tough. I am a really big fan of quotes, and not just inspirational quotes either. Like, I love a great movie quote as well, or a TV quote. If it's a memorable quote, I will try to work it into my life somehow, some way. So given that my word this year is execution, I have chosen quotes that relay ideas surrounding execution. So on the front page, though, I always put my favorite quote on execution. And I remember when I heard this quote in a podcast, it was a Casey Neistat interview. I was like, I love this quote. It's so true. And you can really see the difference between those who execute and people who talk about things they want to do and never get it done. I think all in all, it's easy to have an idea of what all you want to do. Like, I want to write books this year. I know I want to write books, you know. I also have to have a clear understanding of how fast I'm able to write the books that I want to write. Like, how long will it take me to write a book? If the book is going to be about 320 pages, it's going to take me roughly 3 months to get a first draft written. I know this about myself, and that's 3 months of me actually focusing on getting these pages written. Whereas if I write a novella, I know I can write a novella in about 2 weeks, 14 days. There'll have to be 14 days of focused concentration to hit my benchmarks of a word count each day. So when I break down what I want to get done in my bullet journal, I know these things about myself. I know how I work. I know realistically where I should anticipate being. And I know these things now because I have been using a bullet journal for years, and I'm able to track my progress. I'm able to see in black and white what I have done and what I haven't done. So there's no more delusion of my capabilities, because you can't cheat yourself when the evidence is right in front of you in ink. So that's one of the real reasons why I rely so heavily on my bullet journal. It never lies to me. Either I've done the work or I haven't, and the bullet journal has the receipts. At the back of my bullet journal, you'll see that I leave a number of pages blank. Things arise throughout the year for me. Like, I may give myself a goal or an objective in March, and I don't like to wait for the following year to get something done. I don't even like to wait for the first of the month, first of the week. I don't believe in things having to be the first of anything to start working towards them. So if I feel the need to start learning how to pogo stick on March 13th, I'm going to start tracking that on March 13th. And I will put a little page in the bullet journal to follow it. Now that's a ridiculous example, but it could happen. That's that. My 2025 bullet journal is ready to go. Is yours? Are you a creative who uses bullet journals? If so, drop your favorite tip in the comments down below. All right, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Peace. Fantastic clap. I can already tell this is going to be great. Let's go, 2025. Let's go.